Richard and welcome to my piano tutorial on the piece Goodbye by Jamie Duffy as seen on TikTok. I'm going to walk you through the different elements of the piece, and seeing that this is a copyright piece, I don't own the copyright to it, so I have made my own transcription, but I'm not making it available as it is in copyright. But instead I've made out the building blocks of the piece, and I will make this available and hopefully that will help you. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to do the right hand first and then the left hand and show you strategies for practicing them together. So it starts off with 4 simple notes: E, B, F sharp and D sharp. Now the piece is in E minor and it is in 6/8 time. It could be written out in 12/8 time, but I've decided to use 6/8 time. It's a compound time, which means that there are dotted crotchets as the main beats and the subdivisions are 3 quavers. So as I say, it starts off with 4 dotted crotchets: E, B, F sharp and D sharp. So that happens for bars 1 to 2. Now the next pattern is repeated 15 times. So I'll show you the pattern: E, F sharp, G, B, G, F sharp. If you were to put it down as a chord, it's like an E minor chord with the F sharp. So as I said, that plays 15 times. Now the first page ends with a different pattern. So this goes like this. So it just remains on the B for bar 18. The tune then continues with a jig, and I will play this slowly. So I've written out the letters over the notes so that if you're not familiar with the ledger lines, you can find the notes relatively easy. And I've also suggested some fingering underneath. So it starts with high B, now the next bit you might see a squiggly line. That's called an mordant. So it's a type of ornament, but I'll play it first without the ornament. And we do this 3 times. Now with the ornament slowly. The next section. So that pattern is a variation on the first pattern that we had. So the first pattern started on E, and this pattern is similar except starting on the second note. When you're familiar with what's going on in these little patterns, it short circuits the learning and makes it quicker to learn. So it's useful to know that that little pattern is effectively the first pattern but starting on the second note. And then we come back to the original pattern. And we repeat that for five bars. And then we come to the end. So I play this slowly first. Now this first bar uses what's called a tuplet, so it's going from compound time to simple time just for half a bar, but it's very effective. So I could play it, I'm going to play it in compound time so you can hear the difference. like this note G with the ornament. Here it is without the ornament. Now with the ornament. But he plays it with a simple time feel just in the second half of the bar, like this. So it's like it's going into simple time rather than compound time, just for that half of the bar. Now it'll become apparent when I have the left hand added to it. So now let's have a look at the left hand. So the chord structure, the chord progression, is we have a C chord, an E minor, a B minor, and a C. And the first time we hear the chords added, we just use the single note. So it's C for 2 bars of 6/8, E for 2 bars, B for 2 bars, and C. Now, I'm going to add the right hand so you can hear how that lines up. So once again, this was the right hand that's going to play along to that chord progression. So when I do this, this is equal to 1 bar. That's 1 bar of 6/8. Now if I add the 2 hands together, if I do it at a faster speed, the next section is similar to that section, but the chords now are arpeggiated. So this is a great little piece to actually practice your arpeggios. So I'm going to play the first pattern because it's slightly different to the rest of them, but effectively it's a C major chord. And you should practice just playing the chord by itself. And you could actually put the right hand to it like this. Same with the other chords when you come to the E minor chord, and the B minor chord, and back to the C chord. Now the arpeggio that's used in the first instance of this C chord is slightly different to the other pattern, so I'm going to play that one first. So this is going to take place, it's 2 bars long, bars 11 and 12. So that little rhythm, the 2 C's repeated, provides a lift to the piece when you hear the 2 hands together. And then it goes into the E minor. So here is the C chord, 2 bars long, going into the E minor chord, which will be played for 2 bars. Then the B minor chord for 2 bars, and back to the C for 2 bars. Now the right hand is going to sound like this. So there are a few different things that you could do. You could play chords in the right hand and play the right hand pattern like this. Or you could play the chord in the right hand and play the left hand arpeggiated. very interesting is the chords that result when you play two different chords together. So here I'm playing, it could be described as an E minor ninth. So I've got the E minor and I've got the ninth, but played against a C chord. Now I'm getting a lovely pattern. So I've got the C, but I've now, with the right hand, I'm adding a sharp 11 and a major 7th. Now we're back to an E minor. Now the next one is very interesting, the resultant chord. So I've got a B minor and an E minor on top. Now that shouldn't work, and because what is happening is you've got this minor ninth interval between the F sharp and the G. If I move it down here, you hear this chord, this sound. When it's spaced apart, it's not as noticeable, but this chord is providing a lot of tension. And that's one of the features of this piece, is a lot of tension and release. So once again, here's the C chord with the sharp 11 and the major 7th. E minor, the ninth. There's the B minor, but it resolves then onto the C major, so you get tension and release. So I do that all again. Now the tune continues with the jig, and I'm going to show you the left hand for that part. So I'll play it first and then I'm going to describe what's happening in the left hand, because this is very interesting rhythmically. So again, it's just a C chord, so you could practice it first with the C chord, just playing it like this. Now what happens in the pattern is it plays up to the C and comes back down to the G, but then it skips back down to the C. So I do that slowly. Together. So I do that again. And at speed. Now that's the bar that you're going to have to probably practice the most often, because that left hand pattern is different to what's gone before and what's coming afterwards, so that one needs attention. Now continuing, this is where we have the ornament. So we have an E minor chord, but it just walks up to the top note like this. And with the right hand. So that's played twice. Now what's very interesting here is we're emphasizing the note A, again, which is providing tension as it releases onto the G. Because the A is not part of an E minor chord, but then it resolves. So this would be known as an Arpeggiated, beloved of the Beatles. And then with the ornament, the ornament can be played two different ways. It's called a mordant. You could think of it as two semiquavers followed by a quaver like this. So at speed, this would sound like this. Our Or you could decide to make the ornament twice as fast and make them demi-semiquavers, like this. So as you get used to it, you can decide which way you want to do it. Another little tip for doing that is if you slightly rotate your wrist as you're playing the ornament. And also to experiment whether you want the whole passage played smoothly like this, or if you release your hand, you'll get a fresh attack. So if you lift after the D, so that's a couple of different ways you can play that section. And with the pedal, it's going to make it sound different again. Now, moving on, we have the same pattern in the right hand, but this time it moves down to a D chord. And it just does that once with the D chord. And then we come on to a different pattern. So all of that section again. Now this is the new pattern continuing on. And once again we said it was just a variation of the first pattern. So once again, this is the section with the ornament, starting with the E minor chord, and then just once on the D chord, and this new pattern, and then we have this pattern continued with the C chord. So I'll do all of that section slowly now. This is from the start of the jig. At speed. The next section is like the start, except that the left hand is up the octave, but the right hand is the same. And we stop there. I'll do that with the pedal. Now this last section, as I said, he plays it freely and it gives the sense that it's going into simple time rather than compound time. So here it is with the left hand. So once again, I'm going to play the whole piece slowly for you so you can see the right and left hand being put together. So that's my little tutorial on the piece Good Night, composed by Jamie Duffy. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button. I have a lot more tunes that I would like to do tutorials on. And just to give you a little teaser on the next one, can you identify what tune this might turn into?